Let's go now to Joseph Bernacki, who's live at the Canadian Museum for Human Rights. We're talking about Orange Shirt Day, which of course is tomorrow. Good morning.
Good morning, Rochelle, and good morning, Manitoba. Yeah, we've had a lot of different speakers on this morning so far from the Canadian Museum for Human Rights. If you're just joining CTV Your Morning Winnipeg, very pleased to have Michael Redhead Champagne on our show. Michael is an advocate. He does all kinds of work educating Indigenous youth and kids across the province. Pleasure to have you on our show.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for being here today.
We're back in front of the witness blanket. Talk to us a little bit about being a witness to this installation, what it means from your perspective.
For me, being a witness to the witness blanket is personal because I'm the son of an Indian residential school survivor. My mother went to residential school in northern Manitoba for many, many years, and unfortunately, as a result, when she came home, all of her children ended up in child and family services. So the intergenerational nature of Indian residential schools lives within me, and so being a part of the witness blanket, being a witness to the witness blanket is personal for me and important.
We had a conversation earlier with the knowledge keeper here from the museum who talked about some of the many different 800 artifacts that make up this display. When you take a look at this diploma here, Michael, I know you mentioned to me before we were live it had some significance to you. Tell us a little bit about what we're looking at.
Well, you can see every single artifact here, of course, tells a different story, and each artifact allows us to carry that story with us. When I look at this diploma, it makes me think of all of the children that spent their formative teenage years in Indian residential school and reminds me of the important work that needs to be done today, reflected by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission calls to action. The work that I do often calls me into visiting with schools and students, being able to speak directly to young people about not only the atrocities of what happened in Indian residential school and the genocide that took place, but also to ask these young people what is meaningful for them in terms of living a good life, how to be happy, and especially when it comes to Indigenous students, how to come to their identity and culture in a meaningful way. So learning their language, knowing who their family is, connecting to their land are all things that Indian residential schools try to take away from Indigenous children and families, and I try to encourage those Indigenous kids and families to take that back because residential schools did not defeat us.
Michael, we appreciate your time and your knowledge on the show this morning. We're going to be back for one more segment from the Canadian Museum for Human Rights at 8:38. Stay tuned.